Let's talk about the Labour Party. We're about to have, aren't we, closure on Brexit, and one day there will be closure on COVID, believe it or not. But it seems the anti-Semitism row within the Labour Party will be with us forever. I thought naively that yesterday's verdict from the Equality and Human Rights Commission would be the end of it. How wrong I was. The verdict was a damning one, that the Labour Party had unlawfully discriminated against its Jewish members. Enter stage left, one Jeremy Corbyn to say this is all exaggerated, nothing to see here. Now, not only is that move politically inept, welcome to Jeremy Corbyn, it adds to the pain of all of those party workers and the wider Jewish community of Britain. It actually gaslights them and tells them that the abuse, the hate, the prejudice, and that the hell they've been going through is simply a matter of their imagination. It didn't happen. And frankly, that their cries for help, for mercy, for recognition, and their worries about what they've been through were entirely politically motivated. Now, how can this seriously be the approach of any public figure at a time like this? And here's the thing. To say I abhor racism in all its forms, that may be a laudable statement. Of course, we all do. But frankly, from Jeremy Corbyn, it's snake oil. It's disingenuous because it ducks the central issue, which Corbyn did for years as Labour leader. Because a rump of his own supporters, the very hard left of the party, have a particular problem with anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a specific strain of racial hatred that goes back centuries and has exacted a death toll, never mind the human suffering, that runs into millions. And the ludicrous but persistent trope that Jewish people somehow control the financial system shouldn't be disguised as or dressed up as any legitimate criticisms of the state of Israel. The irony for Sir Keir Starmer, who now presides over a party well in the throes of a collective nervous breakdown, is that it provides him with the greatest opportunity of his leadership so far. Because notwithstanding the anti-Semitism row, it becomes clearer with every week that passes since the election in 2019 that we as a country had such a lucky escape from Jeremy Corbyn. Imagine if this toxic cabal of hard left extremists, many of whom revealed so much about themselves yesterday, including some Labour backbenchers who tweeted hashtag I stand with Jeremy, wow. Just imagine if this poisonous regime had actually come to power. That's why, for the duration of my time hosting this radio show, I have spoken positively about Keir Starmer, mainly because he's not Jeremy Corbyn. And to me, that's the gift that keeps on giving. Our lucky escape from Corbyn goes well beyond a bullying autocratic movement that ruthlessly weeded out non-believers, and one that saw the BBC's Laura Kuenssberg require personal security when reporting from the Labour Party conference in 2017. Here is a terrifying scenario for you. Let me put my teeth in. Jeremy Corbyn wins the election in 2019, indulges in hundreds of billions of pounds worth of political vanity projects, including nationalising everything that moves, and then we get coronavirus, but no money or borrowing capacity left in the coffers. Yesterday was a reminder of what a lucky escape we had. And as I speak, as somebody with no political allegiance, I have voted for every major party in my life. My vote, like that of so many, is up for grabs. So here's something Keir Starmer needs to do for me to consider voting Labour. And frankly, it's something in the national interest. He must rid the Labour Party and the Labour movement of this toxic sectarian rabble once and for all. Fair credit to him, yesterday in an impressive speech, he pledged to do just that. But he must also steer Labour to the place where the vast majority of the British people are if he hopes to win back power. And that place is the centre ground. He must craft a sensible, coherent, articulate and caring Labour Party that follows its core principles of a fairer, more equal society, but one based on aspiration, enterprise, social mobility, economic prudence, and one based on, wait for it, strap yourselves in folks, yes, capitalist principles, the market economy. Not very Labour, you say. Well, how quickly they forget. The Labour Party I've just described won 3 elections back-to-back under Tony Blair. Notwithstanding the lies and exaggerations around the threat of Iraq in the run-up to the Second Gulf War. Lockdown fanatics take note. The years under Labour were a time when our welfare state saw unprecedented investment and which, frankly, the economy saw healthy growth throughout. So, Sir Keir, you are in a civil war, and it's one you must win, because this country must never forget the peril we invited in December 2019, when we flirted with Jeremy Corbyn and his momentum bullies. I couldn't disagree with you more, Sir Keir, about a national circuit breaker lockdown, and there's a list as long as my arm about where we differ. But we live in a two-party state, the Conservatives and Labour. They are still the key actors in our political arena. Both parties need to be broad church arenas with a healthy diversity of views. Both parties need to put the national interest first, and both parties need to embrace the basic principles of decency, fairness, free speech and democracy. So in your task of restoring the Labour Party to its former glory, and as one of the great political projects in Western European history, we wish you well. The country needs you to win. Because, folks, if you thought COVID was bad, just imagine 5 years of Corbyn. This is Talk Radio.